Hello children, how are you? Today we are going to learn an interesting lesson. Today's lesson is introducing habitats. In this lesson we will learn what a habitat is and we will know examples of different habitats and their factors, and we will know how to use simple identification keys. Children, can you tell me what is a habitat? Before going to that, we will learn about what is an organism. So, living things are called organisms. The place where an organism lives is called a habitat. A habitat provides organisms with everything they need to survive, such as food and water, and it also a place for them to live and reproduce. Children, can you tell me what is a population? A population is a group of organisms of the same kind that live together. They reproduce in the same place. Children, can you tell me what is a community? Different populations of plants and animals in a habitat form a community. The organisms within a community interact with one another and the non-living things around them. Can you see the second picture? It is a picture of what? It is a picture of a grassland habitat. So, the population of different animals and plants that live here make up a community. We can see a population of giraffes lives here, and we can see a population of trees also lives here, and we can see a population of elephants also lives here. Children, can you tell me different habitats in the world? Pond, the Arctic habitat, rainforest habitat. Can you tell me another examples for that? Desert habitat, mountain habitat, mangrove habitat. What are the environment factors of a habitat? It can be divided into two groups, living factors and non-living factors. Non-living factors is known as physical factors. So what are the examples for living factors? Availability of foods and the presence of other organisms. And what are the non-living factors? Temperature, water, light and soil. Children, what is temperature? The temperature of an environment is a measure of how hot or cold it is. So what happens if it is cold or hot? If the temperature is too high, plants and animals may lose too much water. If the temperature is too low, what happens? They may die from cold or lack of water because the water may freeze. However, some organisms can live in very hot or very cold environment. Can you see the picture of cactus flower? The cactus stores water in its stem. Its needle-like leaves prevent it from losing too much water in the desert heat. So, the polar bear has layers of fat and fur. They help keep the polar bear warm in the cold. Water. Organisms need water to survive. The amount of water in a habitat depends on how much it rains. Some habitats get their water from ponds or rivers. Some organisms such as frogs need a lot of water to survive. Some organisms such as fishes live in water. Light. Children, this is a picture of sunflower. The sunflower grows well in places with lot of sunlight. So plants need sunlight to make food. The amount of sunlight in a habitat can determine the types of plants that live there. This will in turn affect the type of animals found in the habitat. Most of animals need light to move around and find food. However, some animals such as bats and worms can live in total darkness. So now we are going to learn some common habitats. Pond habitat, field habitats, garden habitat, seashore habitat, mangrove habitat, desert habitat and Arctic habitat. Different types of plants and animals can live in particular habitats. In this part we are going to learn about pond habitat. The pond habitat includes a small land area outside the edge of the pond. So, many organisms live in or near the pond. The pond is their home or source of food and water. Some organisms depend on the plant that grow in or near the pond for food and shelter. We can see frogs, fishes, ducks, water lilies in a pond. Field habitat. Children, what about a field? Is it a habitat? Sometimes you may think a field may not look like a habitat, but it is actually home to many types of plants and animals. Some animals can be found among the plants, some on the ground and some in the soil. So we can see earthworms, grass, bees, spider, snakes in field habitat. Garden habitat. Children, garden habitat is usually warm and contains variety of organisms such as butterflies, birds and various flowers. What are the examples for flowers? Hibiscus flower, roses, and there are a lot of animals also. Butterflies, grasshopper, bee. Seashore habitats. This is a very interesting one. Many animals at the seashore can be found among the rocks, in the sand or underwater. The waves bring in food for some of the animals. Other animals such as the seagull go to the seashore to get their food. This habitat can be dry or submerged in water at different times. So what are the examples? What are the animals we can see near a seashore habitat? Seagull, seaweeds, starfishes, algae. Mangrove habitat. Mangrove habitat also very essential habitat. The mangrove habitat is usually hot and covered with seawater. We can see a lot of animals in there. Examples are sea snake, alligators, monkeys, like that. Desert habitat. A desert is a sandy and rocky place that receives so little rain that most plants cannot survive in it. It is very hot during the day but gets very cold at night. So there are a lot of animals we can see in a desert habitats. Examples are scorpions, cactus, camels and horned lizard. Arctic habitat. The Arctic is extremely cold, snowy and windy. However, there are organisms that can survive these harsh conditions. We can see some animals that live in Arctic habitat. Examples are snowy owl, polar bear, and Arctic fox. Leaf litter habitat. A habitat that occupies a small area is called a microhabitat. A leaf litter is an example of an microhabitat. It is made up of what? This habitat is made up of dead plant material such as leaves, bark and small branches that have fallen to the ground. It is usually cool, dark and damp. Some small animals, fungi and plants can be found in the leaf litter habitat. So what are the examples? Scorpions, fungi, earthworms. What is an identification key? An identification key shows how things can be similar or different. It helps us to understand the diversity around us by organizing and grouping things so that we can identify them easily. The classification chart below shows an example of an identification key. Here we can see pictures of centipede, spider, moth, butterfly, worm and snail. We can divide them into two groups by their shells and wings. If it got wings, it can be divided by their number of legs. So in here, centipede is the animal that has more than 8 legs. Spider has only 8 legs. Animal got the wings can be divided into their behavior. So what is the animal that active in night? Is moth. Butterfly is not active in night. Animal without legs can be divided into according to their shell. Answer for no is worm. Answer for yes is snail. Thank you. Bye. Stay safe.